Magandang hapon ulit sa inyo. Well, this afternoon, itutuloy natin yung discussion natin. Lessons from Luke. Tuwing nagbabasa tayo ng Bible, and I hope na hanggang ngayon ay nagbabasa pa rin kayo ng Bible, there is always a lesson to be learned. At ang lesson na iyan would always be beneficial with our relationship with the Father, our relationship with Jesus, and our relationship with other Christians or fellow Christians. O kung minsan, kahit for information lang. Kapag nagbabasa kayo ng Bible, palaging merong benefit. At this afternoon, nandun na tayo sa Luke chapter 7, the faith of the centurion. Ang gagawin natin, babasahin lang muna natin yung part and then babalikan natin yung mamaya. Beginning in verse 1, Luke chapter 7, verse 1. Mababasa din ninyo iyan sa Matthew 8. When he concluded, that is Jesus, all his sayings in the hearing of the people, he entered Capernaum. And a certain centurion's servant who was dear to him was sick and ready to die. Yun ang statement. Yung may sakit at yung sakit niya ay malapit na mamatay. Naintindihan nyo yan kapag inuubo kayo ng yung grabe. Tapos ang feeling nyo sa gabi, mamamatay na kayo. But this one is apparently worse. So when he heard about Jesus, he sent elders of the Jews to him, pleading with him to come and heal his servant. Continuing sa verse 4, and they came to Jesus, yung mga elders na yan, they begged him earnestly, saying, the one for whom he should do this was, take note yung mga naka-yellow markers, deserving. For he loves our nation and has built us a synagogue. Then Jesus went with them. When he was already not far from the house, the centurion sent friends to him, saying to him, Lord, do not trouble yourself. I am not worthy that you should come or enter into under my roof. Therefore, I did not even think myself worthy to come to you. But say the word, and my servant will be healed. Verse 8, for I also am a man placed under authority, having soldiers under me. And I say to one, go, and he goes, and to another, come, and he comes. And to my servant, gawin mo ito, and he does it. When Jesus heard these things, he marveled at him and turned around and said to the crowd that followed him. From the synagogue yan si Jesus pumunta doon sa bahay ng ang daming taong nakasunod sa kanya. I have not found such great faith, not even in Israel. That's actually a little difficult, lalo na kapag ang mga kasunod mo puro Hudyo, tapos sasabihin mo, yung faith na nakikita niya ay yung Gentile. At among yung mga nakasunod sa kanya, none of them has the same faith as the centurion. And those who were sent, returning to the house, found the servant well, who had been sick. Which means, Jesus did say the word. And gumaling. Yan, so babalikan natin. The belief or faith na si Jesus ay nakakapagpagaling, or alam natin, God works through Him, is very evident in this encounter. At ang daming testigo niyan. It is also evident that the leaders and most everyone else of that day believed in the idea na kapag yung isang tao maganda ang behavior niya, deserving siya of a special favor from God, even if he is a Gentile. And of particular interest is centurion. Centurions are not the friendliest people during this time. Although this one is friendly. Pero most centurions are not. Kasi mga ano yan eh, mga sundalo yan na may mataas ang rango. Yan. The centurion, which is a Roman soldier, is presented as a believer in the God of Israel. Kasi nagpapatayo pa nga siya ng synagogue. And indeed, he does. Kasi gumagastos siya eh. And most likely, personal na gastos yan. Hindi naman niya pwedeng gamitin yung pera ng ano eh, ng gobyerno, ng Romans. Most likely personal resource to build a synagogue for the people. Kaya gustong-gusto din siya ng mga tao. At yan yung ginamit nila na leverage pagpunta nila kay Jesus. Lord, deserving ito, ipapatayo pa ng synagogue yan para sa amin. The centurion is also presented as sincerely believing that Jesus is no ordinary person. Ayan yung mababasa natin doon sa kwento. And someone who is worthy of high esteem and great honor. Bakit? Kasi yung action niya, sabi niya, I am unworthy. But he is a centurion. He is a ranked officer. At sumasalubong yan sa mga dignitaries na uutusan yan, samahan mo si ganito, samahan mo si ganyan. Pero, kay Jesus, sabi niya, I am not worthy to be his guard. To be in his presence or to welcome him in his house, considering that he is a military officer. But there is this one officer, sinasabi niya, I am not worthy. Usually yan, mga higher rank soldiers ang sumasama. This, despite the fact that most people knew Jesus is a carpenter. Kasi mas popular naman si Jesus na karpintero eh. Sa Matthew 13, mababasa natin yan. And that si Jesus had also taken the profession of his human father. Yung tatay niya, karpintero, siya din, ang naging profession niya eventually ay karpintero. And is himself had quite the reputation and is popular among them as the carpenter. Basahin natin yan doon sa Mark chapter 6 verse 3. The centurion would have been aware that Jesus was a carpenter, but as a soldier who understands power and authority, he does not look at who or what Jesus was in the past. Meaning, nandyan sa harap niya si Jesus at tinitingnan niya, hindi karpintero ang tingin niya, somebody else. That is before him. And this one has true power and authority. That is beyond a mere carpenter. Kasi usually kapag kinakausap mo yung karpintero at ikaw ang may-ari ng isang lugar, ikaw ang mag-uutos eh, gawin mo ito, gawin mo yan, pakipukpok mo ito, pakipukpok mo yan, pakidiretso mo ito, pakidiretso mo yan. Pero hindi niya magawa yun. Sabi niya, Lord, diyan ka lang, dito lang ako. I am not worthy. Yan ang sabi niya. Mark chapter 6 verse 2. When the Sabbath had come, he began to teach in the synagogue, and many hearing him were astonished, saying, where did this man get these things? Paano niya nagagawa ito? And tingnan niyo, what wisdom is this which is given to him? Everybody was surprised. Kasi ang tingin nila kay Jesus, tuwing makita nila, karpintero eh. Pero ito nagpipreach, which is given to him. Such mighty works are performed by his hands. Hindi ba ito yung karpintero? kapag napunta ka sa lugar ng mga Hudyo, it's actually hard to distinguish them kasi pare-pareho silang nagpapahaba ng, ang tawag dito, yung beard, at saka yung of course, may iksi ang buhok, pero yung, ano tawag dito? Beard, o yung facial features, pag nagtabi-tabi yan, magkakamukha na lahat yan eh. Pero merong specific distinguishing feature pa rin. At si Jesus, kilala nila, ito yung karpintero ah. Anak ni Mary, kapatid ni James, ni Jose, yung the entire family is known. Hindi lang si Jesus ang popular, pati mga kapatid niya popular. Brother ni James, ni Joseph, ni Judas, ni Simon. Hindi ba yung mga kapatid niyang babae? Kasama din natin. So they were, tingnan niyo ito, nagpipreach siya, they acknowledge that he is full of wisdom. Pero na-offend pa rin sila. To them, they find it offensive na ang isang karpintero ay marunong. Notice that? Hindi ba ito palagi lang nasa likod pag may klase tayo? Bakit nagtatap sa klase yan? Palagi na nanahimik. But they have the same reputation. Yung mga Jews, mga ano din eh. Mga judgmental din. Karpintero eh. Saan galing yung dunong niya? Let's continue. Ito bang centurion na ito, does he believe and is acting on the idea that Jesus is believed to be the Messiah? Kasi yung respeto niya, mataas ang respeto niya. And if he believes that this is the Messiah, remember Messiah is simply the Hebrew term for king. The chosen one, the anointed one. Or sa Greek, Christ, which is just another word for king. The anointed king of the Jews. Hindi naman sinabi sa atin or hindi pinaliwanag. Ang alam lang natin is that itong centurion na ito, he has accepted and believed that Jesus will be king. Because even as a high-ranking Roman soldier, he finds himself, yung bang unfit to be in his presence. Para tayo lang din yan. Kapag ang barangay captain, kapitbahay mo lang, malakas ang loob mo na lumapit niya. Pero pag ang kaharap mo ay mayor na o governor, you will find your respect is different. Kung si presidente yun, pumunta sa barangay. Yan. Of course, hindi natin alam kung itong centurion na ito is the same centurion later on na makikilala natin bilang si Cornelius. Kasi hindi naman siya pinangalanan dito. Alam lang natin, he is a faithful person. Kung ano sinasabi sa atin ni Luke tungkol dito sa centurion? 3 things at least. The centurion believes in the power and authority of Jesus. You will not ask a person to come to you for healing kung wala kang believe. Yan. He understands how Jesus' power and authority works. Kasi sabi niya, I am also a man with authority. Kapag may sinabi akong, punta ka dun, punta yan. Kapag may sinabi akong, halika dito, kalapit yan. Which means he understands command, authority. And in his own way, he respects the presence of Jesus and worthiness. Kasi ayaw niyang humarap. Meron siyang parang feeling na kahit mapunta lang doon sa tabi, hindi siya worthy. Yun ba kapag nagpapapicture-picture, tayo na yun. Pag si barangay captain, okay yan, barangay captain, tayo ko yan. Pero pag si mayor, kakahiya naman. Titingin ka na sa ano mo eh. Titingin ka na sa damit mo. Titingin ka na sa status mo, sa position mo. Yan. On the other hand, si Jesus remarked, nung na-encounter niya iyan, Jesus was also amazed, surprised. Jesus remarked that he has not seen such a faith as that of the centurions. At ang sabi niya, kahit sa mga nakasalamuha niya ng mga Israelites, this man is different. Of course, kapag isinama natin everyone in Israel at the time, meron ding mga Israelite na na-impress naman si Jesus. Meron si John the Baptist, yung mga disciples and every other believer. Perhaps with the exception of yung disciple niya na si John. Kasi kilala niya yung pinsan niya yan. Alam niya iba ang faith niyan. Si Mary, yung nanay niya, iba din ang faith niyan. Pero, kung ihiwalay mo yung mga truly remarkable na Israelites, si Cornelius is among them. Mataas talaga ang faith. Malakas. The only time, or the only other time na mention sa New Testament na kung saan si Jesus ay na-impress din sa faith, is yung case ng Syrophoenician woman. I think nabanggit din yan during the message last time ni William, yung nakikiusap. Oo, sa anak niya na may sakit din, na sinasapian ng demonyo. Yan, sabi niya, woman, great is your faith. Kasi ayaw sana ni Jesus makialam eh. Kaya lang, sabi ni Jesus, hindi naman tama na yung pagkain ay itapon doon sa, ay ibigay. Kaya lang sabi niya, Lord, kahit yung tira-tira na lang, yung nahuhulog, papatulan ko na yan. Papatulan ko yan. Kaya sabi ni Jesus, woman, great is your faith. Yan. We can perhaps include, there is this other woman, naalala niyo yung may issue, meron siyang blood issue, na hindi nawawala yung kanyang non-stop, parang siguro menstrual issue. And ang sabi niya, makalapit lang ako kahit mahawakan ko lang yung dulo ng damit ni Jesus. In fact, Jesus was surprised kasi this was totally unexpected. The woman drew power without consent. Nung gumaling, sabi ni Jesus, sino humawak sa akin? Sabi ng mga disciples, Lord, everybody's holding. So yun, hindi, may nawala. Without Jesus' knowledge or prior consent, pwede pala yun. If you have enough faith, you can actually do on the power of God. Without God having to say yes or no. If you have enough faith. The centurion here is presented as one who deeply cares for his servant. Ito pa yung isang characteristic nitong centurion. Normally, ang isang centurion, any master, especially any Greek master, walang pakialam yan sa kanilang servant. Katulad nga na nabanggit ko sa inyo in the past, binibili lang yan sa palengke. Pag kailangan mo ng katulong sa bahay, nasa sagad-sagarin mo ang trabaho, punta ka lang sa palengke, may mabibili ka. Magkano katulong dyan? 2 dinaryo, o sige. Ganyan. Tapos sasagad-sagarin nila yan. Nung araw yan, ha? Ngayon, pag pumunta ka sa palengke, wala kang mabibili ganyan. Ang palos ang hahanapin mo. Kapag bigla kang nagtanong, mayroon ba nabibiling alipin dyan? Pabili naman ako. Wala ka nang magaganyan. Pero noong araw, ginagawa nila yan. Uso yan, especially kapag ikaw ay nangutang at hindi ka makapagbayad. Para mabayaran mo yung utang mo, ibibenta ka. Kung minsan kasama pa yung buong pamilya. Lahat kayo magtatrabaho para pambayad ng utang. Pag hindi nyo kaya magtrabaho, ibibenta kayo. Bibili kayo ngayon. And mostly, ang bumibili niyan ay mga Romans. Kasi sila naman ang may pamilya. So here, the centurion is different. He is presented as one who deeply cares for his servant. At hindi niya tinitreat na parang disposable properties. Kasi nung araw, ganyan lang naman ang mga alipin, disposable yan. Sasagad-sagarin mo yan sa trabaho, pagising sa umaga hanggang paglubog ng araw, hanggang gabi. Kapag kailangan mo magtimpla ng kape, utusan mo yan, "Oy, kape!" Pupunta yan, kahit tulog-tulog pa. But not this centurion. He is not like most Roman masters of the time. This brings us to another important lesson in this encounter. Kapag meron kang true care and concern for another, it is usually honored by God. I'm trying to emphasize that sa inyo kasi from time to time, we ask you to pray for another person. And the most effective prayer is the prayer of a person who truly cares for another. Pinapakinggan ng Diyos yan. That is why, from time to time, we ask you to pray for one another. Kasi kung nagkataong close kayo, nung ipinagdadasal mo, pagbibigyan ng Diyos yan. Pinapakinggan niya yan. And you cannot find a more sincere prayer than a person who truly cares for another person. Kasi kung magdadasal sa inyo, ay wala namang pakialam sa inyo. Lip service lang yan. Lord, pwede mong pagalingin niyo yan. Pero okay na kahit hindi kasi galit mo. It's different. It's different when you truly care and love another person. Lord, pagalingin niyo naman. Wala akong kausap. Yan. Wala akong mapaglabasan ng sama ng loob ko. Iba yan. That is why in the past, whenever a father wanted yung kanyang mga anak to be blessed, dinadala niya sa lolo. Bakit? Because the prayer of a lolo sa kanyang apo is always very effective. Kasi mahal ng lolo yung kanyang mga apo eh. Tatamaan yung kanyang anak, pero yung kanyang mga apo, ibang protection niya. May sakit pala ang apo ko, bakit hindi mo dinala dito? So, ganyan yan eh. God grants favor when you truly care and you have concern for the person that you are praying for. And prayers, or in this case, it resulted in the healing of the centurion's servant. Kasi alam naman natin na hindi naman talaga si Jesus ang mayroong kapangyarihan. Nakikita natin yan in many other encounters. Nagdadasal yan siya eh, Lord, hinggan mo naman ako. Or Lord, thank you, alam ko, nakikinig ka. Because as a human, sabi niya, I gave it all up. Everything that I do, it's the Father na gumagawa niyan. God accepts requests in favor of another as long as the heart is true and sincere. Yan ang palagi nating dapat tandaan. Especially, prayers for healing requires faith. Kailangan believe ka kasi wala namang nagdadasal pag hindi ka believe. Ang nagdadasal lang, kahit hindi believe, ay yung nasa dagat na. Nag-iisa na lang siya doon. At hindi lang sa iisang Diyos tatawag yan. Lahat ng pangalan ng Diyos tatawagin niya. Bato-bato sa langit na lang yan kung sino ang makarinig. But prayers for healing requires faith. And in this particular case, pansinin ninyo, yung may sakit, hindi siya ang may healing. But the person who cares for the sick. The centurion. Yung centurion ang talagang may faith eh. Hindi naman yung kanyang servant. Which tells us that it is not always the faith of the person that matters. It is the faith of the person who prays for the other person. Yun ang importante sa Diyos. Yung faith ng humihiling. The person who prays or requests for the healing of the sick is required to have faith. He is the one na kailangan merong belief. Naniniwala. And, ang importante dito is yung pagtingin ng centurion, believe siya na kahit si Jesus magsalita lang, His word is good enough. Do you notice that? Kasi in most other healings, nandyan si Jesus eh. Kung minsan papatong yung mga kamay, kung minsan meron siyang i-demonstrate. But this one is different. Ang sabi, salita ka lang. Believe ako dyan. Say the word, and my servant will be healed. Yun ang sabi niya eh. Which is why Jesus was impressed. Because in order for you to say that, you have to believe that this is a very powerful statement. It tells us the depth of the centurion's understanding of the power that Jesus possessed, or the favor that the God of Israel bestowed on him. But, of course, alam natin, with the God of Israel, and as Jesus has consistently demonstrated, say the word is as true as it is powerful. And, wala problema yan. Di ba kapag sinabi mo kay Jesus, Lord, pagalingin mo naman yung servant ko. Magsalita ka lang. Huwag ka nang pumunta sa akin kasi I am not worthy. For a very, very powerful being, our Father, say the word is enough. Alam natin yan kasi pag binasa natin yung Hebrews 11, which is the chapter of faith, binanggit yan eh. Hebrews 11, verses 1 to 3. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Meron kang paniniwala na kahit hindi mo na saksihan on your own, believe ka, it can happen. And tingnan nyo yung verse 2. For by it, the elders obtained a good testimony. By faith, we understand that the words were framed by the word of God. Let there be. Sabi niya. And it was so. See? Even yung writer ng Hebrews understands yung say the word. Kapag nagbitiw ng salita yan, say the word, it will happen. Which the centurion understands. Kasi sabi niya, may mga sundalo ako eh. Under me. Kapag sinabi ko sa isa, punta ka dun. Punta yan. No questions asked. Kapag may sinabi siyang, halika dito. Punta yan. That is power. So that the things which are seen were not made of things which are visible. This is also a very powerful statement. In the beginning, there was nothing. Apparently. And then, sabi ni God, let there be. At nagkaroon. Can you imagine pag pumunta ka sa swimming pool? Tapos bigla mong sinabing, let there be every fish in the ocean, in the swimming pool. Tapos yung mga naliligo doon, biglang dumami yung isda. O, try yung mamaya. You're not yet God, so it's probably not going to happen. Pero God is different. Kasi yung sinabi niya yan eh. Let every fish of every kind. And there was so. And sabi ni God, beautiful. Diba? Ganyan yan eh. Let there be birds of the air and animals. Can you imagine pag bigla kang pumunta doon sa gitna ng swimming pool? Tapos biglang sinabi, let there be animals of everything. Every now, biglang may elepante doon sa gitna ng swimming pool. Yan. God can do that. Maybe in the future you can do that. Try that in your own planet. Yan. The centurion clearly understands power and how to wield power himself. Yan. Sabi niya, I also am a man placed under authority, having soldiers under me. I say to one, go, and he goes, and to another, come, and he comes. Yan ang understanding niya eh. Meron akong mga utusan. Kapag sinabi kong ganito, gaganin, ganito. Kapag sinabi kong ganyan, ganyan. Kapag sinabi kong gawin mo to, gagawin mo yan. Now that is power and authority. Unfortunately, today, parents do not have the same power and authority. Pag sinabi mo sa anak mo, maghugas ka ng plato! Sasagutin ka ng anak mo, mamaya na. Yan, wala nang power and authority yung mga magulang yun. Maghugas ka ng plato, sasabihin ng anak mo, ikaw na lang. Bakit? ML pa ako. Pero nung araw, pag sinabi ng tatay mo, maghugas ka ng plato. Pag hindi ka naghugas ng plato, may hawak na. Okay. Then you will know power and authority. Swerte kayong mga bata yun. Hindi kayo nakakatikim ng leather. O yung hinahabol ng nanay nyo ng walis. But the centurion understands. He knows power and he knows authority. And he knows that Jesus has the same power and authority, especially when it comes to manipulating a person's body na may sakit. The centurion knows Jesus has power, or at least understands a powerful God fully supports him. He understands Jesus can command the sickness and make them go away. Which means, either he has seen it before, or he has known people who has seen it before. To disappear, in a smaller sense, he has the same power with his soldiers. Kaya lang, ang power niya ay mag-utos. Ang power ni Jesus, mag-utos pero sakit. Pwede niyang utusan na mawala, na umalis sa katawan. The centurion absolutely believes Jesus can heal. And I hope that most of us also has the same belief. And such belief or faith or absolute trust, na-impress talaga si Jesus niya. Another thing that is of interest to us is yung statement that they begged him earnestly. Mga elders ito ha. This is another interesting sidelight in this story. Kasi the elders of the Jews, in-approach nila si Jesus at ang sabi sa atin, nakiusap sila. They begged him. But these are leaders. These are the same leaders eventually na sisigaw, ipako. The person who healed them, these are the same persons eventually, sila yung gumaling, pero sila din yung sisigaw. Ipako yan. To heal the centurion's servant. Of course, hindi naman paniniwanag sa atin exactly kung paano silang nakiusap. Pero yung Greek word na ginamit dyan is parakaleo. In Greek, one word can be translated or interpreted in many different ways. At kapag tinignan natin yung definition ng parakaleo, ito yan to call near, to invite, to invoke, or by imploration, or exhortation, or consolation. To beseech, to call for. Yun bang, another way of begging is to simply call a person. Pero siyempre, kapag ikaw ay mayroong kailangan sa isang tao, I do not think that they would do it in a yun bang, tone na mapagmataas. Kasi ang word na ginamit is beg. So I would assume that they would ask him in a humble way. Kasi sa lahat naman ng ayaw ni God or ni Jesus, ikaw na nga yung may kailangan tapos mayabang ka pa. Wala namang ganun. Walang gagawa niyan. Lalo na kung inutusan ka nung nagpagawa ng sinagog mo. Yung centurion. Lagpasan natin yung ibang, meaning, beseech. To call to one side, to call for or summon, to address or to speak to. Yung number 4, ang gusto kong i-emphasize sa inyo because I think this is the one that is most appropriate to admonish to exhort or to beg, to entreat or to beseech. Meaning, talagang may pakiusap yan. And usually, pag nakikiusap ka, you would do it in a humble way. The other meaning is to strive to appease by entreaty, to console, to encourage, and strengthen by consolation. And this is interesting because it reveals to us that the elders of the Jews somehow believe din sila na nakakapagpagaling si Jesus. Kasi hindi mo naman papatulad yung request ng centurion. Kapag hindi ka believe, sabihin mo, hindi naman talaga nakakapagpagaling. Huwag mo siyang istorbohin or huwag mo na siyang tawagin. They would not have gone to such trouble if they did not believe that Jesus can do that. Which explains to us in part yung issue ng unpardonable sin. Bakit? Anong issue ng unpardonable sin? Yan yung nandoon sa Matthew 12, 22 to 30 hanggang 32. Basahin natin yan. Then one was brought to him who was demon-possessed. Na hindi natin alam kung yung susunod na statement ay epekto ng pagiging demon-possessed. Or, maliban sa demon-possessed na siya, he is also blind and mute. And he healed him, so that the blind and mute man both spoke and saw. Pinalayas yung demonyo, pero hindi lang yun ang ginawa ni Jesus. Sinama na din niya yung iba pang problema. Apparently, ganyan ang nangyayari dyan. Nakapagsalita na siya at nakakakita na siya. The multitudes were amazed and said, "Could this be the son of David?" Now, son of David is a statement that says, "Could this be the king?" Kasi kapag ikaw ay anak ni David, you are an heir to the throne. Kasi marami namang anak si Judah. Pero hindi lahat yan ay of the king lineage. And tingnan ninyo, yung kakayahan ni Jesus na magpagaling ng may sakit o magpalayas ng demonyo, ang impression nila is that Jesus is a king. He's not just your ordinary religious leader. Tayo, ngayon, kapag nakita natin ang isang tao gumagaling because of a miracle, ang impression natin yan, the person is a religious leader. Pero sa kanila nung araw, it's so much more. The king apparently is capable of doing this. Magpalayas ng demonyo at magpagaling ng may sakit. Could this be the son of David? Look at how the Pharisees, the leaders of the Jews, describe it. When the Pharisees heard it, they said, "This fellow does not cast out demons except by Beelzebub, the ruler of the demons." Yan ang problema. Pinagaling ni Jesus yung may sakit, hindi na siya bulag, hindi na siya mute, nawala na yung demonyo, pero ang sabi, ay kaya niya nagagawa yan kasi supported siya ng demonyo. Ano sabi ni Jesus? I say to you, every sin and blasphemy will be forgiven men. Lahat pwedeng patawarin. But the blasphemy against the Spirit will not be forgiven men. Bakit? Kasi inattribute nila yung works of the Spirit as works of the demon. Anyone, sabi ni Jesus, verse 32, who speaks a word against the Son of Man, it will be forgiven him. Kahit pagsalitaan niyo ako ng masama, sabi ni Jesus, mapapatawad yan. Pwedeng patawarin. Kasi Jesus mismo ang minamalayan mo. Sabi niya, pwedeng patawarin yan. But whoever speaks against the Holy Spirit, it will not be. Kapag inattribute nyo ang power of God as power of the devil, walang kapatawaran yan. Either in this age or in the age to come. Not today, not forever. Now, this passage tells us that all manners, every kind of sin and blasphemy, kahit na directed pa kay Jesus yan, pwede patawarin. Jesus will not mind. Sabi niya, sige lang. Kahit masamain mo ako, okay lang yan. I will not take it to heart. But not blasphemy against the Holy Spirit, which is against the power of God. And totoo din sa atin yan, all sins and blasphemy against us, yung kapag tayo yung minamalay, may nagsalita ng masama laban sa atin, okay na yan, patatawarin niyo God yan. Kayo din, patawarin niyo din. Kahit magsalita pa ng masama laban sa inyo, patawarin nyo rin. We should forgive any sin that is against us. Kasi si Jesus nga, sabi nga niya pwede nyo akong pagsalitaan ng masama. Kaya yun, sige, papatawarin pa yan. Ito lang ang hindi nyo gagawin. Never attribute the power of God as the power of the devil. Diyan kayo mag-ingat. Yan ang sinasabi niya. Itong mga leaders na ito, itong mga elders of the Jews, the Pharisees, they would have been aware that Jesus is able to heal by the power, support, and approval of God. Alam nila yan Makikita natin yan in a little while. Kaya lang dito, they present the power of God, which is the work of the Holy Spirit, doon sa mga tao na nakakakita as the work of the devil. At yan ang masama, sabi ni Jesus. And still, boldly present or attribute the miracles as the work of the devil. Bakit masama yan? Kasi doon sa John chapter 3, itong sabi, John chapter 3 verses 1 to 2, there was a man of the Pharisees named Nicodemus, a ruler of the Jews, meaning he's one of the recognized leaders. This man came to Jesus by night and said to him, Rabbi, we know that you are a teacher come from God. See? Alam nila Hindi mo naman kasi may pagkakaila yung isang miracle. Yung bulag, nakakita. Yung pipi, nakapagsalita. Yung dingin, nakakarinig. Yung pilay, na may arthritis. Nakakalakad na. Yung merong kamay sa sinagog. Yung sabi ni Jesus, stretch out your hand. Nakakita na ba kayo ng ganyan? Oo, yung hindi kuman. Yung lukot talaga ang lukot ang kamay. Walang flesh, parang buto lang. Tapos sabi ni Jesus, puta sa gitna. And then stretch out your hand. And in the presence of everybody, yung lukot na kamay, unti-unting nagkalaman. Now that is power. And you know that that is the work of God. Tapos sasabihin mo, ay, sa demonyo yan. See, that is why sabi ni Nicodemus, ang totoo, alam namin. We know, sabi niya, that you are a teacher come from God. By Nicodemus' own admission, there is no doubt that Jesus is supported by the power of God. Ang problema nila, kapag kaharap nila yung mga tao, iba ang sinasabi. Sa demonyo yan. Willful violation. Willful false witness. For, sabi niya, no one can do these signs that you do unless God is with you. Kasi imposible naman yun Sabi niya, walang makakagawa niyan kung hindi sinusuportahan ng Diyos. Can you imagine yung bola ng it's always my favorite. Oo, yung mata, kasi walang laman yan Tapos si Jesus dumambot ng putik. Tapos nilagay sa socket. Tapos sabi, maghugas ka mo. See? Sa Mindanao, may mga umakit na ganyan yung walang bola hindi ko alam kung tinanggal talaga nila yan o talagang pinanganak na walang bola tapos may nag-aakay sa kanya. Napunta kayo sa Maranding minsan, magbaon kayo ng putik, tapos pag may umakyat sa bus na ganyan, subukan nyo. Hindi ka ba nakakakita? O ito. Yan. Oo, susugurin ka ng mga tao. Pinuputikan mo yung mukha niya. Lalo na pag Muslim. Yan. But Jesus can do that. And this is real power. Can you imagine an eye? Kanina lang alam mong putik yan. Kasi si Jesus, kumuha sa lupa Tapos nilagay dito. Now that is power. And the Pharisees know that. They have seen that. Maybe kaibigan pa nila yung tao na yun. Tapos bigla mong sasabihin sa demonyo. Pero pagka sikreto lang, sila-sila lang, Nicodemus, Jesus, sabi niya, Sir, alam namin. Sa Diyos yan. Nobody can do that unless God is with him. See? There is a form of hypocrisy here na talagang galit na galit si Jesus. Pag tayong dalawa lang nag-uusap, aamin ka, tapos pag nakaharap tayo sa tao, bigla mo sasabihin sa demonyo. And Jesus said, that is unforgivable. Siraan mo na ako. Sabi ni Jesus yan, siraan mo na ako. But to attribute the power that healed you as a work of the demon. Sabi niya, you cannot be forgiven. Hindi ngayon, kahit bukas, hindi rin. Now you have to be careful with that. Jesus warned, knowing that the miracles are by the power of God or by the Holy Spirit, and then consciously attributing the miracles as the works of the devil, that is unforgivable. At that time, not at that time, not today, not tomorrow, not ever. Knowing the truth and lying about it, yan, talagang unacceptable yan kay God. Pero alam natin yan kasi in many scriptures, whether sa Old or sa New, the one thing that God hates the most is a person who is lying, especially if the person knows the truth. Ayaw ng Diyos na sinungaling. Pag tinignan nyo sa Revelation, isa sa mga hindi makakapasok sa kingdom, sabi niya, yung mga sinungaling. At mayroon yung mga sinungaling na mahal nila yung kanila kasinungalingan. Oh, to the point na kapag ikaw ay nagkukwento, ito-twist mo pa yung kwento eh. Para at the end of the story, ikaw yung nagsasabi ng totoo at yung kabila ang nagsasabi ng kasinungalingan. Tapos ulit-ulitin mo yan sa mind mo hanggang maging totoo na yan sa'yo. And then God said, sige, kung believe ka talaga dyan, tulungan pa kita. Ang tawag ng scripture dyan ay delusion. You can actually make yourself believe in a lie. And God said, I will help you. If you are a person who really wants to believe in your lie, tulungan pa kita. Perhaps, what Jesus saw in the centurion's heart is that he knows Jesus does not merely have power and authority. He saw that behind such power is the very God of Israel. Kasi believer siya eh. And the centurion understands what it means to be backed up by a power. Kasi siya, he is backed up by the power of Caesar. He can do whatever he wants, practically. And he understands what it means. Kapag sinusuportahan ka ng isang powerful person behind you, that, kahit hindi ikaw yung nandoon sa taas, to be supported by someone powerful, that is also power. Oh, kailangan nyo ng trabaho, for example. Lapitan nyo yung boss niya. Boss, meron akong bakante dyan. Meron. Pasko naman ako. Okay. Kailangan mag-start. Kailangan mag-umisa. Sa lunes na. O sige. Now that is power. Oh. And the centurion understands who is the power behind Jesus. Someone very powerful. Pero alam natin yan eh. Hindi lang naman sakit eh. Kasi even earlier, Jesus had already risen the patay na buhay pa eh. Kaya ano naman yung sakit? And Jesus will continually demonstrate that. What Jesus saw in the centurion's heart is that he knows Jesus does not merely have power and authority. He saw that behind such power is the very God of Israel. The centurion feels he is not qualified to be in the presence of Jesus because the very presence of the God of Israel is in him. He can see that. Hindi niya nakikita yung karpintero eh. Na pwede mong utos-utusan. Jesus did not go, or Jesus did go to meet the centurion. Remember, nung nakiusap, pumunta naman si Jesus eh. And honored the request. And also, he honored the request when the centurion asked, Lord, huwag na lang pala. Magbitiw ka na lang ng salita. Good na rin yan. Jesus also, pinabigyan din ni Jesus eh. Pero nandun na siya ah. Papunta na siya eh. Pero nung narinig ni Jesus na, Lord, huwag ka na lang palang pumunta. I am unfit to meet you. Pwede ba? Just say the word. At pinagbigyan din ni Jesus yan. At gumaling. Kasi kinabukasan, nung dumating na doon yung mga inutusan, gumaling. Oo, gumaling. Anong oras yan? Nung kausap namin. See? And for us, if we show the same faith and respect kay Jesus, because that is necessary, kailangan believe ka eh. Remember, ang sabi sa Hebrews, without faith, it is impossible to please Him. Even with God, it works. Kapag hindi ka believe, God will also not grant you your request. If we show the same faith and respect, kapag humihingi tayo ng request, we can receive the same special favor. Yan ang lesson ng centurion. Next time we will continue. Tingnan natin kung how it will be. Basahin nyo rin. Luke is a very beautiful gospel or good news. Huwag nyo hintayin na makarating pa tayo. Mag-advance kayo. Basahin nyo. Marami namang available na mga materials. Kapag tinype nyo doon sa app, sa Google Play o kung ano man meron kayo, Bible, dami ito. Basta kayo, imbis na maglaro kayo ng maglaro hanggang gabi. Yung nagkakasakit na kayo pagdating ng umaga na, o ospital na kayo. At least kung na-hospital kayo, binabasa nyo, Bible. Mga bata, kaya kayo nagkakasakit palagi kasi yung gabi, gising pa kayo eh. Bababa ng mga resistance ninyo eh. Hindi kayo gumagaling. Kapag hindi sapat ang tulog niyo, the body drops its resistance. Importante yung tulog. Tiwala kayo sa akin kasi nung araw gawain ko din hindi natutulog. O tinan nyo, may rayuma ako yun. This is the faith of the centurion. If you can have the same faith, your requests will be granted. With that, happy Sabbath. Have a good rest.
Thank you, Rene.